Welcome to the Hockey in the 313 podcast, where we talk all things Red Wings in the world of NHL. Here are your hosts, Brian Donnelly, Keegan Grazioli, Zach Ola, and Dayton Vandermeer.
Guys, guess what? We have Zach and Dayton back. It's no longer me and Keegan.
What a surprise. They're back.
We all missed you guys.
Let's just say I've been busy with the JOB.
No,
I gotta get the bread.
Stop saying that word. Get me away from that.
The forbidden word.
The much forbidden word that no one should ever speak of. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, Keegan got that word. He got one last
Oh my god, here we go again.
What?
We had to get up early.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about
everyone's getting those things.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Guys, welcome back to episode 12 of the Hockey in the 313 podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brian, joined here by Keegan, Zach, and Dayton. For this week's episode, we're only a couple more weeks out from the draft, so why not talk? Oh, thanks.
You can blame
Come
Brian.
on, Dayton, bro.
Why
Come on.
Okay, we're good now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I was saying, we're a couple of weeks out from the draft, so why not talk about some draft talk here? What I wrote down here is what can we expect the Wings to do for this draft? We're picking at pick 13, so there's a lot of options that the Red Wings can do. For what I wrote down, who fits the pick? Are we going to go for a defenseman? Are we going to go for a forward? Are we going to entirely trade the pick? Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? Or are we going to trade this pick for a proven player? We're then going to hop into some NHL news. Holy cow. Talking just what's been going on in the league so far, some trade rumors, and then the Stanley Cup final, what's been going on with that. And then finally, we're going to wrap things up with a prospect preview for Victor Eklund, the left winger out of... How do you pronounce it, Zach? What's the team called?
Your Garden.
Your Gardens of IF of the SHL. So that being said, guys, let's jump into episode 12 of the Hockey in the 303 podcast. Okay, let's start on the first section here, fellas. So, what can we expect the Wings to do for this draft? There's a ton of options out here right now. I think everyone's blatantly clear that we want to trade the pick. Like, we want to sit down and discuss who can Yzerman get with the 13th overall pick to trade for. Is a guy like Marco Rossi, can you throw a deal in for that? Can you throw the 13th overall pick for Jason Robinson in a package for him? Or a guy like JJ Peterka? We'll jump into those in a little bit, but I mean, let's be honest here, fellas. It's Steve Yzerman. We're probably going to be boring and use the 13th overall selection to take a player. Again, like who do we see as a fit here? Right? We wrote down some defensemen. We got some forwards here. We're doing prospect profiles of the players that are in our range. And entirely, I mean, it's all about the waiting game. Like this year, I kind of feel like there's not that Yzerman pick. Like you feel like the past 3 years, it's been MBN, Danielson, Casper, like those have been the Yzerman picks, and just now, especially with us kind of, trying to get out of that rebuild stage, do we maybe want to look into taking some swings at some picks, like potentially like a Roger McQueen who could fall to our range, or again, do we trade up for a guy like that? So I feel like there's a ton more options to us than there have been in the past couple of years, just because there hasn't been that guy that everyone points to and says, yeah, he's going to be a Red Wing. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys want to trade the pick? Is there a specific player that you guys want that we want to take? Is there a specific positional need that the Red Wings should look at for this draft? Just spew any of your thoughts.
Well, I don't think we should trade the pick. I feel like if you're in the top 15, I don't think you should trade it unless you have two firsts like they had with DeBrincat a couple of years ago. And then let's see. I've made a list of players that I wanted. I made a post about that. So I guess I'll just read off all the 5 guys for anyone that doesn't remember. It was actually a post I made with Zach. So I got Eklund if he somehow falls, which that'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I got Carter Bayer, Jake O'Brien, Kashawn Aitchison, and Malcolm Spence. I feel like I wouldn't be wrong, or I wouldn't be mad with a defenseman or a forward this year, because I feel like after ASP, I don't think we have too many defensive prospects really, but if ASP hits, I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly, because then you have Sider, Edvinson, ASP, you could say Johansson if you wanted. Yeah. And then forward, I mean, man, who's even Danielson, MBN? Yeah, I think we should go forward. That's probably a smart choice, but I really like Carter Bear, so and I don't think we'll trade it, like I said.
I'm just gonna be very blunt. Just go best player available. As a guy who wants to be a professional scout or whatever, just go best player available. Obviously the last 2 drafts we've gone high floor guys. And with Danielson and MBN, I feel like they're still good. They're definitely gonna be NHLers at the end of the day. I feel like they're gonna pack up our middle 6, but with how our prospect pool is turning out, I really want that firepower in the offense. So I'm really hoping Yzerman, kind of takes a chance with I guess his draft philosophy, because we take these big guys who are very physical, and like the offensive trait isn't really elite. So I'm just thinking, because there's some guys who I think we might get, or who we might consider, that I would definitely feel like a reach. Like, first of all, shout out Dayton, because this guy follows him, Jack Nesbitt. I've seen him rise a bit.
That's right.
Yeah, I've seen him rise a bit through rankings, and I don't view him. No offense to him, but I don't really see him as like a first rounder, and I think it's a little bit of a risk. Like, he's just one of those big physical guys, and I compare him to this other guy kind of with Veslav Nestrasil from Muskegon. So I mean, I really hope we don't go too crazy with that in that regard. But like, once again, I really like the guys who we interviewed so far at the draft combine. Now, I don't know. That doesn't mean like we could draft, or like maybe we could draft another player, but I feel like that's a strong chance of guys who we can draft, because I think we interviewed Danielson and Axel.
I'm not even sure if we did not see it. I don't think anything came out about who we interviewed those years. Like some years,
yeah,
it'll come out like who we interviewed, and some years.
I mostly remember when we interviewed Brent Segnegaard last year. I think Yzerman.
Yeah, right. I did see that.
I'm just just trying to dig through my memory, but yeah. So like
sorry, Zach, but when he mentioned that we interviewed with players, I'm just looking on Dayton's post here. We interviewed with Eklund, Bear, Lakovich, Carbonneau, and Reshny.
And yeah, once again, I really like those guys, even though I wish we interviewed Colin Potter, but that's all right.
I was only like 5 guys. I guarantee you we interviewed a lot more. But
yeah, I mean, you just don't know, closed doors.
They always could interview different people.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping, if like guy we're gonna talk about, Victor Eklund, if he falls in that range, I really hope we just take a waiver on him, because screw it, we already have these safe guys, and I still feel like we're in that transitional period as a team, because I feel like we're pretty close to that next step, and just the small skill guys. And also, just quickly, in regards to trading the pick, like I was thinking about this, the Athletic podcast with the prospect section with Corey Pronman and Scott Wheeler, they kind of discussed what they do with or what they're thinking about. It was something about like trading top prospects or whatever, and they brought up how the Kings had this abundant amount of prospects, but it kind of fell off. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then they also brought up kind of Carolina, how they garnered a lot of draft assets, but they haven't really made the NHL yet, which I mean, they don't really need those guys. In regards to Carolina, they don't really need those guys yet. And I guys talked a little bit about Dane, how they mostly draft Russian prospects and they leave them in the KHL, and then when they're ready, they'll come over. Like for example, Nikishin obviously just came over, and they really like the Russian guys. So straight to the point, in regards to trading, once again, I I always say I really want Yzerman to make a move this offseason, but I really hope he doesn't force a trade, which I don't think there will be a forced trade because he's a patient guy. So like if there's something on the table for, once again, like you said, Robertson, Rossi, or Peterka, probably those three guys who I would like on the team. If there's like a deal that Yzerman could cook up, that's something that we could take and that can help the team, and
Well,
that's probably better than whoever's left on the board. Then yeah, I think we should consider it.
what do you think about like, because I saw today that it might not happen this year, might just be the next deadline, but like say like Calgary wants the 13th for like Rasmus Anderson or something. Would you do that for him?
Those guys I'd really like consider in that tier of like keeping them at 13th or moving the pick for 13th. Like I think that there's a tier ranking for that, and it's guys like that. Like if it's a player that it's a specific need, they're in the frame for the timeline, then yeah, I think you should be all over getting a proven player over a guy you think is going to hit. Especially, well, let's just say this hypothetically, you're bored of shot. Like you have maybe everyone took all your guys. There's no one really falling, and I will say this, with this draft, it doesn't seem like that's likely to happen. It seems like there's a lot of guys that are on the Red Wings' radar that they're focused on, so I don't think necessarily that there's going to be one guy that the Wings really want. There's going to be a plethora of guys that they want, but I don't think there's that one guy that they're sticking their finger on and say, yeah, this is the guy. So I guess you can kind of go back and forth on that terminology, but I'm just saying in general, like if your board is entirely shot and you've been talking to like some teams and you see Jason Robertson, the Dallas Stars want like him, a Rasmussen, a Danielson, and like whatever else that they want, but the main source in that is the 13th overall pick. I think you pull the trigger on that.
But it also has to be at the right price too.
Yeah, especially that.
A guy like Robertson, Rasmussen, Peterka, and who's the last guy? Rossi. All four of those guys, in my opinion, make the Wings a better team right then and there. But you never know what'll happen. Like I hear all the time, like draft picks are like lottery tickets. You never know what you're gonna get. So he could either hit. He could be the next Jason Robertson, or he could be the next Zadina. There's really no in between for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Zach mentioned and Keegan mentioned, it has to be for that right price. But there's those four guys that Dave just mentioned. I do also trust our prospect system. Like we don't rush guys immediately. Like I like what we did, obviously with Sider and Raymond. I was a little bit disappointed in Casper because it looked like we wanted to put him in the AHL again, but thank God he's made that immediate impact. Yeah. Still, I really like the our development in that sense, and I still feel like we're going to be competing soon, and we can reload in that sense of calling up like a top guy or something.
Yeah.
You can't do the thing that Holland did though, and have all these guys in the prospect pool, and then just immediately sign a bunch of depth guys that plug and play.
I'm really hoping I feel like we're steering away from that.
That felt like last year too. Like last year felt like we were just plugging holes, especially with like a Mott or a not Watson, but Veleno. Like just a bunch of guys that just like it was an odd signing. So for that, they just got to stray away from that 100%.
Well, I remember last year in free agency, they said they wanted to get better defensively, which is funny looking at it now. But and Mott was supposed to be a penalty killer, which also did
the worst penalty kill in the entire league.
Yeah, well, one of the worst in history, I think. So.
Yeah, but anyway, in regards to who we want to pick, me personally, I'm kind of to do whatever with the pick at this point. I'm fine with drafting someone at 13th overall, preferably either Carter Bear or Victor Eklund. But in regards to trading the pick, like everyone's saying, you just got to do it at the right price, whether it's for a Peterka or Rossi or a Robertson. You just got to see what the market is and what the asking price is, because if it's at a good price, you got to take that. And if it maybe helps you longer term. Now, I'm sure Eisman wants to stay a little bit more younger because that's always been his philosophy, especially with, building through the draft, building through the prospect pool, give him time. I think we're at a point, and I know Zach mentioned it, we're at a weird crossroads where you're like where we get our draft picks or like where we place. It's not. You can get some good guys, but it's definitely hard to get those top end guys. But like standing wise, we're too good
Close.
to miss the playoffs, but we're too bad to not make playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're in that mid tier, and you don't. That's the worst place you want to be, especially for last year with all the crap that went on with everything. It was a mess. But me personally, like I said, draft wise, Victor Eklund, Carter Bear, those are like my two guys. Kind of a dark horse, I'd say, is Roger McQueen if he drops at all. But that's I think at this point he's going to drop. But in a perfect world, I would love to trade the pick for either a Rossi or a Robertson. I would love to see the impact that Robertson could have on a team, especially being like an 80, 100-point guy and, trying to get that. Obviously, if you're trading for him, you're trying to get an extension in place as well. So, but like I said, you just want it to have it. You want to have it at the right price because you don't want to overpay, but you don't want to mortgage your entire future for just one guy.
I think you hit the nail on it pretty damn well. Like, I'm totally open with doing whatever we want with the pick, but I will say I will be frustrated if it isn't like a reach on a guy that doesn't have a high high ceiling. I mean, I understand it. Like, you pick a Marco Casper and a Nate Danielson in the NBN. Like, they seem to be good to great picks. Well, Casper is great, but we'll see about Danielson and them. But just my kind of point is, as long as you pick the guys in that range that we've seen that the Red Wings met in, like in my opinion, my dream scenario is for us to get Eklund, Bear, Reshny's arguably my favorite player in this draft. Like if this dude was only like a couple inches taller, he'd be going top 5, no doubt about it.
Huh.
It probably Roger McQueen, like you said, would be the dark horse if he falls, which he will. And I think that's kind of the point where if he's sitting there at 13, why not? Like, why not take a swing at it? Like, you have enough guys in your prospect pool that I think it's okay to take a risk. You're at the point in the rebuild where, again, it's okay to take the risk. You need to stop playing it safe and take that risk. And, again, on the trade side, that, like, has to be the right player, has to fit the timeline, has to be the player that, you're not giving up the whole farm for, but enough that it makes your team better the next year. So, I've said this countless times. I'm going to sound like a broken record for saying this, but this has to be the offseason. It's got to be the most thrilled and anticipated offseason of the year. There's too many damn players. Huh?
The veins are popping.
I said it won't be.
Probably not. Like I said, I always told Keegan, next thing you know, we're going to sign Cody Ceci to a 4x3.
Good job.
If that happens, we're publicly attacking Cole. I'm sorry.
Yeah, get Cole the fuck out of here if that happens.
Send him
let's all
Shangri-La
execute
dog.
Cole. But yeah, I feel like this has to be the year. There's too much talent on this market for us just to do nothing. And if we even to that, if you roll out another year of Justin Hall on that team,
I'm gonna crash out.
I will not be watching a Red Wings game. I'm saying that right now. I will not be watching the Wings.
Right.
Biggest Justin Hall op here.
Well, ops here.
Ops.
But I feel like it's inevitable that Justin Hall will either get moved or take him. But
Yep.
I mean, you could also bury him in the AHL too. I think that might be
Or buy him out.
Most likely a buyout though.
That's kind of the route that I think we do is buy him out, and then a guy like Tarasenko. The thing with Tarasenko, I'd be fine with keeping him, or I'd be fine with trading him off.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Red Wings legend Vladimir Tarasenko.
I kind of want to keep him from my childhood, but
Agreed.
once again, snake bit. But yeah.
I mean, look at it this way, and I've said this with Tarasenko too. He's bounced around several teams the last couple of years, so he hasn't really had a stable place. Not to mention, you look at the role that he was playing at the beginning of the year; it just wasn't working out clearly. So, I know he's frustrated a little bit, but hey, after this year, one more year, just suck it up. Please play for
Well,
us.
it's just a bit weird that he fell off that much with us because with Florida and Ottawa last 2 years ago. Oh, well,
It was the systems. Like
Mhm.
they utilized him the right way, and we didn't utilize him the right way when we started the
expected
season,
too much
and
out of
that
him.
coaching change happened, and he popped off a little bit more. So he had spurts where he was good. He's not washed by any means, but like
I thought
I-
he had a good impact with the Panthers last year on their cup run.
Yeah,
agreed.
A big reason to that too is that the Rangers and the Panthers really didn't utilize him in the sense that we did. You know what I mean? Like we kind of threw him up in the top 6 from time to time, just trying to see if it worked out. It didn't, so we threw him back down in the bottom 6. When the Panthers and the Rangers,
well, Ottawa too.
I completely forgot he was on Ottawa too. Oopsies. They kind of threw him down in the bottom 6 and just says, just do your thing. Like they kind of sheltered his 5-on-5 minutes and threw him out on power play too most of the time. He's not a guy that you expected to go out there and be an all-around two-way player. Like he's a determined goal scorer, determined playmaker, but it has to be in the right system that he can set. And hopefully, like again, I'd be fine with keeping him, but I'd also be okay with, if we make profit on a trade, like, you can trade him for like a 4th or a 3rd round pick. Like I'd be okay with that, and I'd be okay with him being in the wings, providing more scoring depth. So it's just kind of a win-win situation with him. But yeah, just kind of jumping back to what we were talking about. I just feel like for the draft, just he's got so many options that I'd be fine with anyone that we listed off or anyone that we're putting prospect previews for. So, or again, if he trades it, I'd be okay with that too, because it's definitely going to be an interesting offseason for specifically Red Wings fans. So that's something we'll look forward to. And if I remember correctly, when is the draft?
I think 27th. I
Oh,
think.
it's next
So
week.
not this Friday, but next. So like not this week Friday, but next Friday.
Okay.
I gotta lock in, bro.
So next Sunday, I think we should plan the mock draft then.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So that was just some NHL draft talk for the Red Wings. What we want to do with it, players we should take, or coach we should trade it. Let's hop over into the world of the NHL. We got some NHL news. Kind of like some rumors / off-season content coming here. It's been made official that Marner and Nikolai Ehlers, I have read into it. It was Nikolai Ehlers that will officially test the market. So 2 big free agent players that will test the market. I mean, yeah, we knew about it, but just hearing the word saying like, yeah, it's official, news in itself. I think Dayton's gonna agree with me on this. I'd be like completely okay with going after Marner, but just I'm on that ship where I think a guy like Nikolai Ehlers and then a defenseman could be another like ship we can go down to. Like you'd be getting Marner at north of $14 million, but you'd be getting him for 90 to 100 points. A guy like Nikolai Ehlers, you'd be getting at 8.5 maybe, and you'd be getting, like 75 to 85 points plus.
And you might only get 60 games.
Right, that too. So
Yeah.
that's another risk involved.
Shoot. Sorry, go ahead.
I sorry. But yeah, just 2 big players that the Red Wings will certainly target. I think everyone in the NHL is going to target Mitch Marner and at least talk to him and see what he wants. Eller's another guy that I really want. He's injury prone. You never know. You never know. He could have a change in scenery with us. He doesn't get injured magically. I don't think that'll work, but shit happens sometimes. But yeah, 2 big free agent guys that I think the Red Wings definitely we need to go after and at least pursue. We kind of touched on it earlier, but the rumor mill of potential trade targets for the Red Wings, and not just the Red Wings, but the NHL. And call me stupid, call me crazy,
Okay.
but am I dumb to say? Oh, okay, thanks, Dayton. am I like out of my mind to say that keeping Robertson over Granlund is the better move? Because Jim Nils,
No.
I think that's
No.
I think it's so weird how they would prefer Granlund over Robertson. Yeah, I know, like, he's inconsistent, but he's still, like, an 80-plus point guy. And I forgot how many goals he had this year, but, like,
Well,
at least 30 goals maybe or something like that.
but
And I
It
know,
opened-
sorry,
yeah.
I know Granlund was like a good fit for, Dallas and the whole
Playoffs.
the finish line. But Granlund's older, I believe too. So I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I was just looking at it this way. Like, Granlund, obviously, they traded him for a reason. And then they obviously traded for Mikko Rantanen, too. So maybe they're looking at that situation of, like, hey, you sign Rantanen. Maybe they shift gears into who they want to keep. And I think right now, Dallas is in very much win mode now. Like, do whatever it takes, F them picks, whatever it takes. So
Kind of like
if losing
Tampa
a
Bay style.
yeah, but also you look at what Robertson, like, he was very inconsistent in playoffs. I think he was still maybe dealing with an injury, but he's also buried on the third, fourth line most of the time too. He wasn't playing top 6 minutes in that playoff series. There was always Rantanen, Duchesne, Granlund, Hintz, Sagan, and I forgot who else, but I think he was buried on the third line most of the time for the playoffs. So,
Well, if he was on the third line and he didn't do too bad, he had 6 points in 11 games, 4 goals.
yeah,
Also, it's but we all know that they're in win now mode, so it doesn't make sense to trade Robertson really because like look at his last 4 years. He had 41 goals, 79 points in only 74 games. Then next year, 109 points, 46 goals in 82 games. The next year, his goals went down a little bit, but it's still not bad. 29 and 82, 80 points that year again. And this year, he had 35 goals, 80 points. So the last 4 years, he's been basically 80 points or better. So I don't know why.
And also, sorry, quickly, I do wonder what Dallas would want back. Like, I'm assuming a young player who's cheap. Because I know they're really cap constrained. I don't know if they want to go after picks as well, because
I mean, picks would be a luxury at that point, but at the same time, if they're
Sorry, go.
I was gonna say, if they're getting a pick in return, they're immediately gonna use that pick.
for
someone
yeah.
Too. Like, you just like if they're getting a first round pick, they're immediately trading that next deadline for whoever's on the market.
Or
Top
even
guy.
the same draft.
That's exactly the point I was going to make. I can't remember what team or who was it, but I think it might have been Dallas. Like kind of said like, oh no, it was Minnesota. If Minnesota got like a first round pick for Rossi in this draft, they'd immediately flip it for a proven player. So I think that's also like
That definitely makes sense for them.
I don't think a team is going to completely stare away like, oh yeah, you have like a top 15 pick. Oh yeah, we're not looking towards futures. I think that they can use that asset to flip it. You think about who was it? I think it was Montreal that did it with the Islanders. They traded Romanov to the Islanders for a first-round pick, and then they flipped that first-round pick for Kirby Dach. So it's definitely an option
really?
for teams
Wow.
to do.
You might be able to
Oh
see
yeah, I was
more.
actually thinking about that draft, 2022 when all those trades happened.
And it could be another one this year with how many players are on the trade market. Like you never know what will happen.
Yeah.
A guy like
Plethora
Robertson,
of trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. I think a guy like Robertson, what Dallas would be looking back as a proven guy, so like I said, like a Rasmussen or Comfort, a younger kind of player. I don't know how we would get away with throwing Berggren in, probably not. But you never know. Maybe a guy like that could be like a change of scenery, and then a first round pick. Probably will be more. I say probably, and it will be definitely more. But just something like that. And I preached this earlier. Like, there's another guy on Dallas's trade market that, my God, if we went out and got, like, I would be over the moon with enjoyment. Like, Mason Marchment.
Oh, I loved Mason Marchment in Florida. He was such a dog, and his first year in Dallas.
Sorry, I wanted to point out too, is if we're trading for Robertson, they're gonna want to dump more cap off. So Mason Robertson has been in conversations of like a guy they want to move off of clearly, or Matt Dumba. But I think you're gonna look at a guy like Marchment, especially for what his cap hit is. It's a $4.5 million cap hit for 1 year. So maybe.
I think they would more so look at a guy like dumping off like Ilya Lyubushkin or Matt Dumba. I don't think it'd be a Mason Marchment that they'd be attached to a contract.
I'd be very surprised if they traded Marchment just for how crucial he is in that bottom six.
Is Marchment a free agent?
No,
No,
Or
he has one
maybe-
more year at 4.5.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I remember it was a short deal. They also have to sign Duchesne, and I'm sure they would definitely want to do that.
He's
That's-
just gonna come back on a $3 million deal. Let's be real.
Yeah, he's a really good fit for Dallas. So
He had like 80 points. He had like
Mhm.
almost 90 points last year, especially with like
Which is why he's completely okay with taking it.
wasn't he like wasn't he part of their first line? I think.
he was
Yeah.
for like most of the year.
I honestly really like Duchesne on Dallas. So yeah.
Which it's crazy to think that Nashville bought him out
hmm
too. Like that was such a I would understand maybe buying out Johansson, but to buy out Duchesne, it like I don't know how you
I'm
let
pretty
that
sure he
happen.
had like a really good season before that.
Mhm,
The year
he
he
did.
got, but yeah, and I don't know. It was just weird situation from Nashville because it was looked like he was about to click, and then next season he didn't. And I feel like in Dallas, he's got that speed, and
the swagger.
yeah, he's also a really good. I think he's a country artist or something.
Yeah,
A little bit.
he's like
What?
pretty. Yeah, he's pretty good with like guitar and like goes to, like bars and shit, and he like does like karaoke or does like
You're talking about Marchment still, right?
no
Duchesne.
Duchesne.
Dayton's lost the fucking plot.
I was looking at something. I'm actually using the NHL's analytic page because I couldn't get a JFresh card on Marchment, so I'm using their analytic thing.
Mm.
Marchment's skating's really good. He's in the 88th percentile for that.
Oh boy.
I always liked the Marchman for his like
Jordan,
grinding.
He can lay hits too. I
Yeah.
feel like he's like a better. I hate saying it. He's probably a better Rasmussen.
That's why I really liked him on Florida. He definitely fit that play style, and I didn't really notice him that much, I guess, this year in Dallas. But
You can never
think
have
there's
too
still
much
more
polish
with them.
for Rasmussen's.
hmm
So yeah, that was just. Well, I guess we didn't really talk about more. How about
Well, I got some else
Jason?
then, didn't say, if we're talking about Marner and all that, and all
No,
these
you don't
free
get
agents,
to.
but
No, you don't
Dad.
get to. No.
what?
I mean, I'll just say
Go
this
ahead,
about Marner is, I would love to have Marner, and if we went after him, I wouldn't be mad. But you can distribute the cap a little bit better if you go after
Yeah.
like a guy like Ehlers or a guy like Gavrikov or
That's right.
he's been linked to us too is Ekblad. So you can use that cap space for different areas where you need to maybe focus that on a little bit more. Maybe go after a guy who like an Ehlers, and then you're able to go after a top four defenseman for your team, or not top four defenseman, but like a second line defenseman that you can go after, and he immediately helps your team.
I'm
Should take,
oh sorry, I'm liking how kind of he wants to go the Matthews route, short term, 4 years.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
Oh yeah, and also I heard before I was talking a little bit about this, the rumor that Carolina's going to be big game hunting. Apparently they want to give him 14 mil AAV. So,
third time's the charm with that shit, dude. Holy.
Yeah, their superstars haven't panned out, so and obviously Carolina wants that kind of that needle driver, even though like I feel like Aho's good at that, and sometimes Seth Jarvis. So I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting what Marner does.
This year, I want to just say, going back to Marchment, in 62 games he had 22 goals, 25 assists for 47 points.
And that would be a perfect depth option. Like, you put that on the third line, like, you have, like, that turns your bottom six around immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like what Keegan said about, like, utilizing your cap space. And I'm going to be frank with you guys. I think that's what Eisman does. I don't really think he does go after Marner. I think he looks at it, but I don't think he's going to try and outbid, like, a smaller market team that's looking to compete, like a Utah or an LA or any teams like that are heavily pursuing him. I think he's going to utilize that cap and try and fit our team needs. Because you look at our second pair right now, it goes Edvinsson, Seider, Johansson, and then an offsetting Eric Gustafsson.
And a Sherrod, too.
Sherrod.
I don't think Sherrod really plays right side most of the time.
Well, it'd be Johansson because Johansson can play the offside.
Oh, okay. Well, still, I think that a Sherratt Johansson pair could be a damn good third pair.
Yeah.
We can't have that
I can
perfect
agree.
world right now until ASP comes up. So you have to get at least a right hand or a right shot, or maybe even a left shot. But yeah, I think Gavrikov
Preferably
and
right
Ekblad-
shot.
Right. I think Gavrikov or Ekblad would fit that mold immediately.
Well, me and Zach were talking about this last night about the Eklund thing, and like, I knew he was born pretty close to Detroit, but one guy commented on the post.
Windsor.
Yeah, he was born like 40 minutes from Detroit, and then I think his parents live in Michigan. So like, if the Wings are actually interested in him, I could actually like put money on it that we're going to sign him.
I kind of hope we do. I mean, say what you want about his like, what was it, his drug problem or whatever? I don't know if I wrote that
Steroids.
correctly.
Yes.
Say
Okay,
what you want
but
about that.
that's even tricky too, because it's like, what if he used something that he didn't know?
Or if it was a Jameson Williams situation.
Yeah, like you maybe just don't know. Like there, I forgot what baseball player got suspended like half the season.
Tatis.
Tatis.
When
yeah,
he
you
accidentally,
yeah, like it, like accidentally, you just had no idea. Like, hey, I messed up, and he obviously took his punishment, but
Or what everybody's thinking, accidentally.
Yeah.
Quote unquote, air quotes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of like names that the Red Wings have that. You gotta at least try and enhance and try and go after them. You know what I mean? Like,
It's weird that we haven't heard anything about like Besser or anything.
Oh yeah.
it is.
I think he's gonna go to Minnesota.
I do too. I think Minnesota's gonna try and pursue him after Brock Nelson re-signed with Colorado. I think he's a screaming fit for the Wild, which kind of
Hometown
concerns
guy
me.
too.
Yeah, it kind of concerns me because that's another guy that was on our potential watch list for a Red Wing,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's between Ehlers, Marchand, and God forbid if Florida somehow makes this work, I will lose my shit. It sounds like Bennett will probably stay with the Panthers. Dayton, how much did he? Was it said that Marchand was trying to pay for?
Marchand?
8 mil.
Yeah, $8 million to 4 years or something like that.
That was for Bennett. I think I heard 8x8. I think.
No, it was for
Or-
Bennett too.
Yeah, you are right, Zach.
Oh, it was.
And you're also right about Marchand too.
Marchand wants 8 mil.
He wants 6 to 8 million, yeah,
Oh,
for like 3 to 4 years.
maybe like 6. Like short term.
Maybe
Okay.
he's 34, 37, and if he wants,
He's still performing. He's showing that
Yeah.
he can still perform though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's
but-
like
Again, it's the Panthers. Like their team is just incredibly stacked, and they're utilizing them in every right way.
And their system too. It's very good.
well, I mean, if you sign Marchand to like we'll just say 3-year deal. Okay, no, we'll say 4. We'll go to the max. Like you sign to a 4-year deal, that brings him till he's like 41, and he won't be playing this good.
Yeah. And he would probably play like third line if we were to sign him to.
Red Wings
Maybe.
legend
No, yeah,
Brad Marchand.
probably. Probably be on the third line on the power play.
Oh yeah.
Let's be real with ourselves. He's not going to be on that team for the full 4 years if that comes to fruition. So you can more so look at it at like, I don't know, like a 3-year deal. Like unless he goes on LTIR or you buy him out. But my point is, just don't sign him. I'm all for the nit and gritty with how he plays and like his style of game would fit tremendously on the Red Wings. I just don't think you should do it at that price.
I just want more to happen this year than last year because I remember, I think we brought this up like 100 times now.
We went days without a signing.
Oh
Well, no,
yeah.
Not even that. Like
You're gonna get Cam Talbot and you're gonna get Tyler Mott and you're gonna fucking like it.
well, last year me and you were talking, remember, on free agency, and I think it was me and you, yeah, right?
Because we're in the Xbox party. And
Yeah, it was me and you. Yeah, and then the Preds signed everybody, and then we got Talbot, and then
That was it.
I
we
still
signed
remember
King.
telling you. I still remember telling you.
We
I
got
was like, "We're not
Gustafson
getting
as
anyone."
well. I forgot.
I told Dayton we're not getting anyone. He goes, all right, let's just wait it out. Nothing.
I have false hope a lot.
Optimists, yeah.
One
I
thing.
mean-
Well, that was the one time you did have hope. That's why I was surprised.
One thing that's kind of dawned on me. Back to Martian. Do you guys think he'll be a Hall of Famer if he like wins Conn Smythe?
Oh yeah. I think. I mean, he's won. He has the. I mean, he doesn't have like the personal accolades, but he has like.
Mm.
I mean, 2 Stanley Cups. If he has Conn Smythe, I think
How many points?
he's been a top guy in the league.
He's like 20
forever.
away from 1,000. So,
Yeah.
I think if you hit 1,000 points, you're pretty much guaranteed.
because I remember I like everybody's been talking about in regards to Martian, like he's always been kind of that fringe guy, and like I said, he kind of lacks the personal accolades, but yeah, I think hopefully Conn Smythe could boost him.
Oh, it absolutely will. I'm not.
You kind of use that same argument with Zetterberg, I guess.
Oh yeah, Martian will be a Hall of
Zetterberg
Famer.
should have been in the Hall of Fame
Yeah,
last
Well, I
year.
think he still can. But anyway, I think Martian will 100% be a Hall of Famer. He's played 1,100 games, 20 points off 1,000, like you said. I think he's won a cup before.
yeah,
Performer.
11,
Yeah, so.
2011.
All right, let's jump back into some more NHL news here in the final NHL news segment before we jump into the Stanley Cup final. Quick little trade. Chris Kreider was traded to Anaheim a couple days ago. It was reported 2 days before that, the Rangers were looking to offload his contract, and then Anaheim seemed to be the team that was going to take on that contract. It was a lengthy process, and we had to wait for, Chris Kreider to waive his no movement clause, or was it no trade clause? It was one of the two. I can't remember. We had to wait for that to happen, and eventually he did sign with, or not sign. He did get traded to the Anaheim Ducks. Full trade length was to Anaheim, Chris Kreider, and a 2025 fourth round pick, 104th, and then to the Rangers, Kerry Terrence, and then a 2025 third round pick, which is pick 89. I think someone set it up pretty what's what I'm looking for. Pretty self-explanatory here. I feel like that this is a bittersweet kind of ending for Rangers fans. Chris Kreider has always been a Rangers legend, but I think it was just kind of time. You had to dump off a contract. He wasn't really playing the greatest.
His season was really weird.
Oh yeah,
Because he had 75 points the year prior, and he had 40.
He had 22 goals, 8 assists this year, I think.
he had 50 goal legend, I think, was it 2022 or
Yeah.
23? He was really good at tipping
He was
pucks too.
Yeah, he's like a power play merchant, but
Yeah,
it also shows how a lot of these organizations now are treating players. It's more of a business. Like the Rangers, Vegas, it's business. They don't give two flying fucks about you. They'll do whatever they please with you, and they did that with Trouba, and the year prior they did that with Goudreau. To the Sharks a couple years ago to offload his contract. They're like, nope, bye, we don't care. And it was something with his no movement clause. He didn't want to go back there, and he got traded there. And then so it's very unfortunate that that type of culture they don't take to consideration the players anymore. And I think you just look at where the Rangers are. They're at a really, really weird spot team wise. They missed the playoffs last year. They were kind of in that bubble of teams that were
It's so weird
competing,
when they miss.
but their core got older, and their management and the ownership got very what's the word? I can't remember the word, but they got very impatient, and now they're just trying to find solutions to things that you can't fix at this point, because trading a guy that's been there for almost pretty much his whole career. He could have been the captain, in my opinion, of that team instead of Trouba. It makes no sense in the sense of what he means to that team and their leadership. I think he'll help a younger team in Anaheim, especially with what he brings, and maybe a change of scenery will help him, especially trying to get them over the hump, because obviously they added coaching that Quinville and obviously I think they're in our Marner too. They're one of the teams that want to offer him a high contract, but maybe that changes their mind where they made this trade and they feel like, hey, if we can bring back a lot of our younger guys, maybe sign some good depth pieces and keep it rolling, we can be a team that's competing for the playoffs this year.
Yeah, with the Rangers organization, there's been a lot of turmoil, especially towards the end of the season. You know, we got Dahan. He came out saying how like he wasn't treated once he got traded there, or wasn't treated well or whatever. And then you got the Panarin situation, which is I don't really want to get into or whatever. And you know, James. It seemed like once again what Brian said. The owner James Dolan, he kind of got a little bit hands-on with the organization, I guess, and you know, kind of jumping to conclusions and kind of forcing moves or whatever. So it's still, I don't know if I should really trust the Rangers organization, and like, I guess you could say they're cutthroat once again, like what Vegas was doing, and like the Rangers are weird too, like. I don't like the way how they've also handled prospects. Like I think they benched Perot.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, it was like Laviolette. Obviously, they have Mike Sullivan now, right?
They traded Hedel and
yeah,
Kakko too. Like,
and Kakko was way better on Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, now they're looking to trade Keandre Miller and Lafreniere, which is that's crazy to me too.
And Lafreniere just signed that big deal.
Yeah, it's insane that they're just trying to get rid of their young guys and then they're just gonna pop off somewhere. It's like, I wonder why.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like they're more of like a free agent, quote unquote free agent team, just because it's a hot destination, you know, to go to New York, I guess, big city or whatever. Because I also heard rumors of Gavrikov and Provorov wanting to go there. So,
I mean, I just look at it this way too. If you're gonna keep treating your players like shit, though, I think that's gonna turn a lot of teams off for the most part. Or turn a lot of players off. Sorry, like that's what I've heard at least is that a lot of players are looking at the situation that's happening with the Rangers and are looking elsewhere for deals because they just know that they just don't treat their players with a lot of respect and decency.
Mm-hmm. And quickly on the Duck side, it's weird how the Verbeek is going after these type of players. Like he was working under Yzerman. Obviously, he was our former AGM, and you see Verbeek going after like kind of through drafting. Like he's drafting these big physical guys in later rounds, and you know, obviously he took the risk of Seneca last year, and he's been signing weird deals like the Gudis. I forgot how much he signed for, and
what about
freaking Killorn? Yeah.
I was about to say too. Like, wait, was Verbeek our assistant GM when we signed Sherratt?
I think
probably
22. Might have been the first year. Yeah, I think when he left.
That sounds like a Verbeek talking in Yzerman's ear for Sherratt a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, he was like a physical player when he played, or whatever. Like,
but he wasn't worth the money that we gave him whatsoever. I'm like, Ben Sherratt? Are you kidding me?
I mean, it's weird because like he said he thinks the Ducks are gonna be like this. He thinks that his own team is gonna be like a playoff team. I could kind of see that because I thought they had a sort of a strong way to finish the end of their season.
I think also too it depends on if Zegras can get back to form too.
Yeah,
I think they're really banking on him, kind of making a little bit more of a comeback. But
I feel like also they're in a way trying to get to the cap floor or something too, because I know they have a lot of cap space for them with the position they are, but I think eventually they're going to need to sign these younger guys as well. I mean, I don't know. I still think the Ducks are going to be a team to watch out for, I think, next season, because I'm a huge McTavish fan, and especially their defense with Zellweger and Mintyukov. Also, Jackson Lacombe kind of came to his own as well. So, I mean, I think they could be sort of a dark horse in that sense.
Yes, the big thing with the Rangers, in my opinion, is that they just, like Zach said, they trade off their guys way too fast. And that just seems like it's New York and it's a big, broad market, which I get, but it just seems like, man, they do not know how to develop their prospects. They don't know how to develop their young guys. They don't know how to keep their original guys happy. It's just a flood of everything, and it's becoming a shit show for them. If I'm being so real, you know what I mean? But
Agreed.
I mean, hey, if you're a player that has a crap ton of a lengthy contract or a big amount of AAV, send them to Anaheim, because I swear they're turning into the Anaheim Rangers over there.
Oh yeah.
I kind of forgot about that for a second because they traded for Trouba, they got Vetrano, and then
Kreider.
Kreider now too. Like, it's
I also
hilarious.
wonder if, and probably not, but I wonder if this is finally the summer where John Gibson gets traded.
Oh yeah.
Well,
The speculation
another-
last offseason.
odd topic too.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll jump into the Stanley Cup Finals now, fellas. And I mean, hey, Florida's one game away from going back to back. Talk about it all the time. The state of Florida is just insane in hockey. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But let's backtrack a little bit. Let's talk about Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. What a game! In my opinion, that was my favorite game of the Stanley Cup Finals so far. Florida goes up 3-0, and then Edmonton storms back, ties it up to be 4-3. They then take the lead, making it 4-3. Panthers tie it with 19 seconds left in the third period, and then
Yeah, that was funny.
Edmonton scores in overtime. So what a Game 4 from the Oilers.
I really wish I watched that game. Once again, I have to
Oh, yeah,
work,
well,
so
yeah.
yeah. I watched Game
watched
5
it.
entirely, at least.
God, there's so much to say about the Panthers and what they're doing right. I mean, every line's buzzing for them, and I think what's helping this team is a lot of last year I think Kachuk wasn't as big of a role player. This year he's a lot more productive, and I feel like he's helping out the team a little bit more.
I'm also
And,
sorry. I'm assuming he's still battling through that injury from the
Yeah.
Four Nations.
I would assume so too. So he's been killing it. But
Mhm.
I mean, you can't go unnoticed that the two guys have been phenomenal from the whole playoffs, and that's Bennett and Marchand. Like, that trade, I don't know how the hell Boston let that trade happen and not re-signing him, because if you let Brad Marchand into the playoffs, he's gonna immediately pop off.
Well, they're not going to make the playoffs, though.
Well,
Doesn't that pick turn into a first-round pick?
Yeah, it is. Because,
2027 first rounder.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying in general, like, I don't know how you let a legend like that leave in it, and it almost feels like a Ray Bork situation where, I mean, he leaves and he wins a cup like either this year or the
Yeah,
year
yeah.
after. So it's kind of funny a little bit, but it's also really sad. But
It's okay.
and then,
I'm
but-
okay with the downfall of the Bruins.
But Sam Bennett, what the playoffs he's having, I mean,
Mhm.
15 goals, that's like the highest playoff goals in, I think, franchise history, or at least in the playoffs, I think.
Mm.
Well,
So,
he's going to get that $10 million.
I mean,
I'm jokingly saying every goal is another million to his contract, but it looks like he might take a paycheck in Florida, or pay cut in Florida. We'll see.
if he does that, that's like the contract of the century.
I think he should just stay in Florida because he benefits that system. Once again, that Florida forecheck, I would kill to have that, because, I mean, I'm going to kind of speak briefly about Game 5. I thought Edmonton was kind of sleepwalking a little bit, and then I thought Florida was just kept on bringing it. They still somehow found ways to keep the puck in their own zone. It was just like incredible how they do it, and they get all these scoring chances as well. It's just, I would kill to have that.
I was about to say, they also have the players to do it. Like, you look at a Kachuk and a Bennett and a Marchand and a Barkov and a Reinhardt. They're all playing in the corners. They're all getting deep in the corners. They're making those small little plays to get it in front of the net for the rebounds. Man, they can be flashy at moments, but they can also wear you down with their physicality too. Like, you look at all the hits and the checks and the physicality. Like, these teams hate each other legitimately. Like, they absolutely hate each other. And I mean, for one, I think it makes great playoff hockey. But
Yeah.
Game 5, they they had the lead, and then obviously Edmonton came back. Of course, Jake Wallman scores a goal in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh boy, yeah, he's
But,
having interesting finals.
But that's even a funny topic because it's like with all the drama with him,
Oh, boy.
spraying the water and getting in the fights, and
He also took a really bad dive.
Yeah,
I saw
he's
with
also
Bennett.
he's also been out there, I think almost for every goal that the Oilers have gotten scored on too.
Oh, really?
But that's what I've noticed. Like he's been out there for almost every goal.
Mm.
But yeah, and then obviously Reinhart ties it up, and then goes to overtime. Draisaitl scores, but
Off the weirdest and most
yeah,
anticlimactic goal.
but Pickard came in. Obviously, Stuart Skinner. I don't think he's playing for the rest of the playoffs, or if he does,
I think he
don't know.
might come in Game 6.
I don't know if that's gonna save him though. I
Yeah.
hate saying that, but and then obviously Pickard started the next game, and he was like 7-0 before that, and then obviously he got completely shit on. But the Panthers have so much experience, and they have so much depth and so much just everything. And another guy I feel like is very underrated on Seth Jones too. I feel like
Yeah.
Seth Jones has had a tremendous playoffs, and that deal for them has really worked out.
Defensively, I feel like he's gotten better, but like I remember watching Game 5, I thought their defense kind of they were kind of like a little bit slow at some points, and Edmonton had a little bit of these fast breaks, and they were able to get a good scoring chance. But luckily, Bobrovsky got there.
That's also another reason why they've been so good too. Is
Yeah.
he's playing Vezina level goaltending. Like he's, or at least Conn Smythe. He could win the Conn Smythe too. I feel like it's a
I think for like a dark horse, yeah.
dark horse. Yeah, dark horse for Bobrovsky, but it's either Bennett or Marchand. But going to home ice, a little bit of jitters, but I mean they also know what it takes to win it too. They're going to do everything in their power. They won it last year. Maybe a lot of guys from that weren't on the team last year might get a little bit nervous, but I feel like they'll be able to close it out on Tuesday. They're just too good of a team not to win that game, and if the Oilers win, it's because McDavid and Draisaitl absolutely pop off and are on crack. But
Well, I want the Panthers to win, so whatever they got to do, I don't care.
Vamos Gatos.
At this point, I don't really care. I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah.
I can agree.
I wish McDavid would finally get his cup, but who knows? I don't know
It felt
at this point.
especially with the storyline with how Gretzky lost his first year in the Stanley Cup Final, came back and won. Crosby lost his first Stanley Cup Final, won the next year.
Yeah, I thought I was
McDavid
going to
lost
follow
his
that
Stanley Cup Final.
storyline.
Yeah, but it just doesn't seem like it.
Whenever the patterns are noticed, though. It's whenever the patterns are noticed, that's when it doesn't happen. That's what I always felt. But yeah, like how Keegan mentioned,
But-
Florida has a chance to Florida has a chance to clinch it now. Jumping into Game 5, what an absolute beatdown by the Florida Panthers, and a name that you guys haven't even mentioned yet.
That's right,
I know
yeah.
we talked about him earlier. What in the hell is going on with Brad Marchand, man? Like, you look at Game 5 for the Panthers. The dude came out and scored like 9 minutes into the game, and then, Bennett scored. Marchand then scored again to make it 3-0. It just, I don't even know what the hell to say about the Edmonton Oilers goalies anymore, man. Like, Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard, as much as I love Pickard on the Griffins, it's just been disasterful for the
That's a Wings
Edmonton
legend,
Oilers.
actually.
Okay.
Expansion
it just
draft
feels like-
legend.
Uh-huh. It just feels like that the one thing that was killing Edmonton is their goaltending. When they finally got their one thing that was killing them the past couple years was their
And
goaltending.
we all knew that was going to happen.
They also don't have Zach Hyman too. That's I think
Yeah.
we're not mentioning
Yeah,
that
that
too.
is
Is that
true.
they're without Hyman too.
He had like a record amount of hits, I think, or something like, a lot of hits compared to what he had in the regular season.
But yeah,
He did.
So I mean, just a little glimpse over a Stanley Cup Finals. Like, Florida's a game away. They're playing, what is it, tomorrow? So, or right,
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday.
they're playing Tuesday. So the next time we're on this podcast, we'll know who the Stanley Cup champion is. So you guys will have a leg up on us beforehand. So yeah, that's the Stanley Cup final news. What a series it's been. Let's hope it goes to Game 7. But if not, it's going to be because
No.
of Sam. Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry, Dave. If not, it's because of Brad
I need the
Marchand
Panthers to win.
and Sam Bennett. I do want the Panthers to win. As much as like
Red
I've
Wings,
before,
future Red
the Panthers
Wings,
are a division rival.
Brad
Like,
Marchand.
I've always had a soft spot for the Panthers, man. Like they've been a shitty franchise their entire life, and just they're finally getting
Yeah.
spot.
At some points, I just always think they're like an irrelevant franchise, and I forget that they like almost exist. So
Well, they have a whole fan base of bandwagons.
Well, I want to say this too. I remember. I want to say it was the COVID season. That was a season that started later. I think it was in January or February.
you got 21.
The 21 season. They were one of the only teams that played on Fox Sports at the time. Like that was like the last year of Fox Sports. But I remember watching a lot of Panthers games. I really fell in love with how Barkov played. I really loved when they traded for Sam Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it like. I know he wasn't like as big as he is now, but I just felt like he fit that team so well, and especially with what happened in the first round where he was just like going after Tampa guys the whole time. So I immediately fell in love with the team, and they were one of my favorite teams for the longest time, and I'm really happy that they.
I wasn't expecting Florida to be that good in 21 because they were so meh in the it was
Bubble.
like the playoff or the qualifiers against the Islanders. So
Qualifiers, wow.
I mean, that's where it all changed for them. I feel
Mhm.
like that season they made that.
and Bill
They just-
Zito.
Bill Zito. Obviously, they had Quenville too, but that was a whole other situation that
Mhm.
happened the season after. But I mean, you just look at what they did, and I mean, I've been following them for a long time, so I can fully say they're one of my favorite teams to watch, and I have a lot
Yeah.
of favorite players on that team, especially when they got Kachuk too. Who's like one of my top guys. I thought was like an elite player. Oh, he had everything going for him. So, really happy that they've had as much success as they had, because
Yeah.
Florida is becoming that market now where players want to go play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, let's finish off the Stanley Cup final. And we're going to shamelessly plug Zach's Instagram here for him, as he mentioned previously before we started
Okay.
recording. So, Zach, say what you want to say for your Insta real quick.
Sorry, I know I've been a little bit lacking in posts lately. I've been posting on my story. I know, like, once I got a job or whatever, like,
He
Things
said the
have been-
word. He said the word.
things have been a little
Get
hectic,
on
but
it.
I just want to give a little update. I kind of hopefully plan on posting top 10 or whatever skill traits and overagers to look at for this draft, and also I'm hopefully for sure I have the graphic ready for my top 64, so that'll
Oh.
probably drop the week of the draft hopefully. So I'm definitely gonna be busy with that and gonna be watching a lot of prospects and reading all those guides as well. So stay tuned.
Yeah, make sure to follow Next Gen Prospects on Instagram. That is Zach's prospect Instagram. He is going to, like Zach said, he wants to be a scout, so let's all try and do our part and try and help him achieve that. But guys, we have finally reached the end of a era here. We are going to be doing our last prospect preview for the 2025 offseason, as this is the last one before the draft, and the draft is next
Is it?
Friday. Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
That sucks
I
for
know
me because I really like doing these.
Well, we have one more episode before the draft.
That's gonna be mock draft.
That's our mock draft.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
God, Dane, get your head in the game, cuh.
Jeez. We're all just focusing on bullying Dayton.
Hey, he barely shows up to episodes anymore.
What?
He needs
I
to
mean-
lock in.
Jeez, you guys. We did have a couple more prospects left on the board, including Colin Potter and Justin Carbonneau, which Carbonneau I think would probably be the one player that I think the Red Wings are definitely looking at the most. But I feel like we should all end it off on a player that, we love our Swedes, so let's talk about a guy called Victor Eklund. William Eklund's brother. He's a left shot winger from
Your Garden.
Your Gardens IF out of the Hockey Allsvenskan. Eklund last year had 31 points, that's 19 goals and 12 assists for 42 games played with the team. Some of the scouts have him ranked as high as number 4, that's TSN Ferrari, and as low as number 11 on Sportsnet, and that is Constantino. What I wrote about Eklund is he's got a lot of good. Like, there's not a lot of bad with this guy, and that's why I feel like he should be this pick. If he is there, I think it's a run up to the podium, especially with our Swedish scouts. They know a shit ton about him. I think he should be the guy. So for the good that I put down with him, he's got good work ethic. It's actually amazing for his work ethic out on the ice. That's something you look at for a guy that's just coming into the NHL. You look for his drive, you look for his hockey IQ, and I think Victor Eklund screams that for a guy like him. He's a damn good skater, and for a guy his size, I mean, that's kind of expected, but just you notice with a lot of these prospect previews, a lot of the cons for these guys are they need to work on their skating, they need to become faster, they need more agility. With Eklund, he's a proven skater, he's dynamic, he's explosive, he's got a strong top speed. There's everything you want in a good skater, and I think the Red Wings can provide a lot of that for him. He's got great offensive creativity, he's skilled in the offensive zone, he's a solid playmaker with great vision and creativity when he's in the offensive zone. He makes smart passes when he finds someone open, whether that's on the boards, on the blue line, in front of the net, or just below the hash marks. As I mentioned, he's got that goal scorer's touch. 19 goals isn't a ton, but I mean, for a guy in the Hockey Allsvenskan, you're playing up against mostly men, and scoring 19 goals is definitely not something to scoff at. And then finally, I wrote down he's fearless and willing to get into dirty areas. I write that with a lot of guys, but I think Eklund, especially with his size, is something to be sought after. Like, he's not a big guy, he's not a big physical guy, but he will get into the board scrummages and try and get that puck out of the zone so he can create those new opportunities. Some of the bad stuff that I kind of wrote about, and this isn't a knock on him per chance, but his size and strength. He's 5'11" and 161 pounds. Needs to bulk up a little bit more, and I think with that he could grow, an inch or two come his time in the NHL, so he could get there to 6 foot or 6'1", which would be amazing. Imagine having a Swiss Army knife with a 6'1" guy around 180 pounds. Like, that'd be fantastic. His defensive details, and I feel like this is a lot for the Red Wings. He needs to work on his defensive work, but it's really nothing when you can just plug and play that dude on the power play and shelter his 5-on-5 minutes. It's really not that hard. And I assume, if you draft him, McClellan will be there in his time when he becomes a Red Wing, so his defensive attributes should grow a little bit more. And then finally, his puck management and decision making. He needs to be faster with trying to determine where he wants to get the puck and how he wants to do it. He can't be hesitant when he's in the defensive zone. He has to either get the puck out or find someone in space that'll make it for him. But yeah, those are the bad that I have for him. And like I said, you'll notice that there's a lot more good than there is bad. That's why I feel like this would be the slam dunk pick for Yzerman and Victor Eklund. So yeah, Zach, what do you have down for Victor Eklund, and how would you feel about him on the Red Wings?
So yeah, just starting off, I think Victor Eklund is my favorite prospect in this draft. And I know with Misa and Schaefer, but I've been drawn to him, especially his D-1 with the U18s. And with his brother, too. I was a huge fan of his brother back in 2021. So, yeah, with Eklund, I thought he was going to be more like his brother. I mean, he still has some attributes I view William, he's like a dynamic kind of playmaker. With Victor, he's more that physical, high-motor guy, obviously. And, Brian, I think you knocked out a part with his description. And, in my opinion, what brought Victor Eklund to me on the map was his hat-trick game. It was against, I think, Björklöven. And it was just pretty awesome to see. He kind of willed his team to that win. He scored the game winner, I think. It was like a 6-5 game, I think. And I was also kind of shocked, or I guess surprised. I remember watching early in the season. Well, I mean, I watched Eklund most of the earlier in the season because I was spread out watching other guys, and
Yeah.
with Eklund, like I was a little bit surprised to see him kind of play bumper on the power play, and because he's a small guy and you'd kind of expect kind of those bigger guys, but like he's being more physical, kind of pushing against the defense or whatever. So yeah, in that regards, with Eklund, like he's not afraid to get get physical, get to that contact. Obviously, as a 5'11", especially playing in the Allsvenskan, Sweden's like number 2 tier league.
Yeah, I call it their AHL.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, you could say that. But he's still bringing that physical presence, kind of like he's tying sticks up with defenders. He's kind of being annoying, all that. Like I said, the high forechecking and attacking, that's what I really like about him. And he gets kind of down low in the offensive zone. He gets down low behind the red line, behind that, always getting those pucks and like keeping the play alive. For example, a recent game I watched, I think it was the Allsvenskan championship against AIK. He was kind of doing that. He got down low. I also want to bring up briefly too is like body positioning. I really like it. He's protecting the puck. He's getting low to the defenders, and he's got that advantage, I feel like, most of the time. And like I guess a little bit once again with the downside, what Brian said, like being that small, he once again the battling, and he kind of like he falls kind of most of the time, but like it's still the off puck stuff you like to see when
Is he
with
is he
Eklund.
kind of like Raymond?
I mean, I guess you could kind of say that. In a way, maybe. Like, I really like his offense. I really hope it translates. And, good, Dayton. You got me thinking, man.
In a good way?
So, yeah,
You
like.
can't do this to him, Dayton. You know how he is a player comms.
Oh, God, yeah.
You get them all riled up.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like Raymond's defensive game is a little bit underrated. I don't know if Eklund can really push over guys yet, because once again, 161 pounds, and I think he'll get better at that because Djurgården they got promoted to the SHL, and he'll play against the other teams like there's Frölunda, Skellefteå, Brinas, all those teams or whatever. But yeah, and but kind of back to Eklund, I really like his skill. I know we've kind of talked about Carter Bear with the high offense. I feel like you're gonna get a better bet with Eklund's offense because I feel like he's more skilled. Now I've seen him try to do the classic behind or when you pull the puck behind, you try to kind of dangle it between your legs.
Right.
Like he sometimes not. It's not like flawless. Like he sometimes loses the puck in that sense, but like I feel like there's something there you can work with or whatever. Maybe get him with the skills coach to like help him execute that better. And I'm also a huge fan of his passing. Like I feel like he's really smart and utilizes those lanes. And if Jake O'Brien was in this draft, I would probably have him as like the best playmaker almost. Because Jake O'Brien, like from.
He's not in this draft?
No, he is. Like if he wasn't in this draft, I would say like, yeah, or whatever. And shooting wise, going to shoot his shot, I think it's underrated because I've seen him like get to the slot and he can rip a nice wrist shot that can easily beat the goalie, and it's like a nice snipe. And he's also good at like kind of tipping. Like I said, he gets into the slot, and he's really smart at like getting tip pucks in the net. And also kind of briefly going over his downside, a little bit of a downside. His shot selection can be kind of bad because sometimes I see him entering in the zone. He could either like sometimes just rip a slap shot or just like rip a shot on the top of the blue line, and it doesn't really lead to anything. But like you also see his forechecking as well. You'll still go after the puck. So I mean, once again, if you like maybe get into a better system or whatever, he can get in or work on that, or whatever.
Yeah.
And also with Eklund, I see it was him and Frondell for Djurgården this whole season. But I felt like I always think Eklund was the better player because I feel like he had that better drive and kind of that puck carrying ability. Maybe that goes to his skating because I wouldn't say it's elite. Eklund is still pretty pacey and he is, very good pace for the NHL in my opinion. Well, with Frondell, there was a lot of scouts.
Control a game pretty much, right?
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Well, what the potential is with Eklund. Well, Frondell, he's big and lanky. In his skating is kind of below average, and some scouts are not sold on his transition game. But what I like about, I know I'm going a little bit off topic with Frondell, but what I like about Frondell, he gets in the scoring areas and he's got that very good shot. Definitely one of the best in the draft. And so Eklund was the guy who got the puck and he can pass it to him. That's why I think
Right.
if you're drafting Frondell, I think you need a guy who can help get the puck and give it to him so he can easily rip and score. And I think that was Eklund. So I prefer taking Eklund, who's the play driver, even though he's not that big, but and
That
kind
can
of going like a little bit of spoiler alert with my rankings. I'm pretty dead set on my top 5 by having him over Martone and Frondell because I just really like this player. He's kind of fearless in a way. I've also seen him get into fights against men and all that. So I really hope he builds that frame, especially once he gets to the NHL, because I feel like sometimes when he turns to the boards it could be risky and he could absolutely get pinned and could lead to a serious injury or whatever. But, he's still playing against men, he's still developing, and sorry.
I just want to say, in regards to playing in the corners, I feel like a lot of especially European players, they don't really play in the boards. I feel like
because of the wider ice and all that.
The wider ice, but I feel like they control it more, and I want to say maybe the middle or on the blue line. So they're trying to create that pass to either the forward down low. I don't think a lot of these European guys kind of go into the corners and really battle in the corners. So I think that's a big transition from North America. Is he's going to have to learn how to play in the boards and get deep and get gritty, be able to pick off pucks and just be able to get those loose chances, which I think with his frame, if he can use his physicality, I feel like he'll have the best opportunity available, whatever situation he goes to. I feel like he's going to have every opportunity to become the best player possible.
Yeah, and also I feel like he's kind of got a good base with that. Once again, what I've said, he kind of gets pushed down with these bigger guys, but I think he's already got good body positioning at points when he comes to retrieve the puck. And that's with Eklund. Once again, just kind of reading back to my notes. Yeah. If Eklund continues to build his frame or whatever, and, once again, coming back to the wings, I really hope we just finally pull the trigger on this guy. Because, we don't... Yeah, we don't normally go for guys who are, kind of, I guess, light or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was ASP small when we drafted him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely undersized.
Most of these guys are they grow a couple inches here and there, especially if you're unless you're a DeBrincat
Mm.
or Caulfield, where you're just, they just don't have that genetic. It's just genetic at that point.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these guys, you look at maybe their parents or their siblings, like Eklund's is a very tall guy, so his brother's gonna probably be about the same or bigger, who knows. But I think, in general, looking at Eklund, I mean, if he keeps falling, and for whatever reason, if it happens, that whoever you had on your board, you have to take him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just a guy that his game can translate pretty well, especially with the guys that we have. Like, he has chemistry with a Lucas Raymond and a Simon Edvinson. Like, there's guys on the team that can help him maybe adjust a little bit better. But I think also too their playing style too. I think with Raymond's playmaking ability, I think Eklund, his scoring ability can be very lethal for the Wings as well. I feel like he'd be another guy that can,
He also did say at the combine his shot was kind of, he thinks, is an underrated tool.
All right, Zach, what would your thoughts be on Victor Eklund potentially being a Red Wing, and how could he be a fit to the team?
I'd honestly jump for joy, because this is a guy who I really want, and usually guys I want, when they're there, Yzerman doesn't pick them.
That was last year with Cole Yzerman, I think.
Yeah, well, I kind of wanted Hage more, but yeah,
me and
same thing.
We're like, how the hell did we not go with Yzerman?
But yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. But yeah, I feel like, we're a team, we need kind of that winger depth, and I feel like Eklund's going to be a perfect complement to our top six, maybe mostly middle six, but I feel like he has the skill in that offense, and maybe he can develop some chemistry with Raymond or whatever. We'll see. And once again, I don't like comparing players, but I've seen a Seth Jarvis comparable to him, and I think that's probably the closest I would say. Like, once again, you can kind of compare him to Bear, I guess, because like they both have that high motor. Right. But at the end of the day, I feel like Eklund has that offensive ability and that skill that sets him apart from Bear. And once again, I feel like he could be a nice key addition of someone who, you can develop, and I feel like he could be also a guy that's going to be very valuable for a team that's in the playoffs, especially when it comes down to puck possession and that physicality.
Cool.
Yeah, I think you nailed that down pretty well.
I can agree with that too.
I think we mentioned it all before. We love our sweets. I think this would be a home right there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even more of that out of the park. But yeah, so that's it, fellas. That's the last prospect preview, and then the next episode that we do. Actually, I'm not even sure. Well, I have my grad party on Sunday, so we have to do something after that. But
do I do it like weekday or something?
Yeah.
Whatever.
The next episode will be our full mock draft, so be sure to stay tuned for that. It's gonna get loose. It's gonna get fun. So, yeah, that just about wraps up episode 12. Thank all three of you for doing this tonight and all the troublesome that we went through off screen. You guys haven't seen it. My internet is being absolute. So, thank you guys for putting up with this shit tonight. I'll get this edited and out pretty soon. But yeah. That'll do it for episode 12 in the Hockey in the 3-on-3 podcast. Also, a big thanks to my girlfriend for doing the voiceover for the intro. I feel like I had to put that into there, not because I didn't give her credit last episode. I feel like I gotta do that now. So big shout out to her for doing that. And yeah. All right, guys. That'll do it for episode 12 of the Hockey in the 3-on-3 podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brian Donnelly, joined by Keegan, Dayton, and Zach. And we will all see you in the next episode for the NHL mock draft. Of all, guys, let's go Red Wings.